and gentlemen, please welcome.
Welcome, everybody, to the MCW Cast. This is episode number 26. My name is Brent Taring. I'm joined by a lovely crew here, as usual, since the debut, since numero uno, and she's lasted 26 weeks, just like a woman to hang in there.
Somebody's got to do the hard work. I'm Tara.
Lovely Tara. And for the first time, we got
Deacon Storm in the house, y'all.
Deacon Storm in the house, filling in for Danny.
In the hizzy for shizzy.
Yeah, and Will Smith. Yeah. And I myself am filling in for Larry Phillips, Larry the Legend.
Larry Legend, yeah.
Larry the Legend. Sweet Larry. So anyway, want to pitch it to Tara here to do the heavy lifting and talk about what platforms you can catch us on, because I am not going to learn that.
All right. I barely learned it. But before I do that, I want to say for those of you listening, if you don't already know, this is our commentary team here that we are sitting with, Deacon Storm and Brent Taring. Those are the voices that you hear on our recorded events. If you've been checking out the 3 episodes of Breakthrough that we've showed during this coming back phase before we get ready for live events, those are the voices you hear. So
thank you so much for that. It's important to know, I think, to match the faces to the voices.
Right.
Yeah.
MCW's got a rich commentary history of Tim Rowe and Jack Adonis, and now you got
Deacon Storm and Brent Taring.
That's it, man.
I mean, and I mean,
once upon a time, I did commentary.
You did too.
Yeah.
I know. It's
well,
like
we cannot talk about that because that was not something I did well at.
we don't want to talk. We don't
No.
want to see. Okay. So anyway, we are here now, and
That's right.
we thank you for letting us into your households and and your YouTubes and your internets.
And if you're listening, not watching us, you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, SoundCloud, Spotify, Stitcher, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, Breaker, Castbox, and there's probably a lot more, but I don't actually have time to listen to
that's a lot of places
podcasts.
to hear my voice.
And you can watch us on YouTube, Twitch.
It's a one-syllable word, right?
You're twitching.
Just making sure.
Facebook. And
right.
last but not least, we could not do this without our coffee club supporters. So if you want to throw some coffee money our way, it is greatly appreciated. As Larry likes to say, we're switching to iced coffee now because it is hot in here. And you can do that at buymeacoffee.com, MCW Cast.
Do dragon fruit refreshers count?
As coffee?
I mean, it's
did
like
you get
Starbucks.
that-
Well,
did you
Starbucks sells them. So
Are you
I
getting
mean,
that like for your mom or your daughter?
Are you kidding me?
Like your sister?
You know me. You know how I drink.
Oh,
You
I
how
know.
drink. It can be whether it's sober or not sober. You better put an umbrella and it better be some tropical
It better
fruit
be
in there.
fruity.
That's right.
Oh,
Now
know.
wait a second. Hold on.
You like your fruity drinks?
Yes,
And it is your birthday, isn't it?
it is my birthday.
Happy birthday!
Thank you, Brent.
Hey, listen. And a 1 and a 2. Moving on.
Yep.
Okay. That's perfect.
Now, last week we were joined in studio by Ryo. It was great to have him
Expand
in
your
here.
mind.
Yeah, he was expanding it. And you know what? He's expanding his career. He is working all over the place defending that IOCW title. And
The Open Challenge.
Wait, you forgot international.
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 The International Open Challenge Championship?
World Championship.
World
There you
Championship.
go.
International and World.
In the same
Like,
description.
it's a bit like redundant.
Well, no.
No?
That would account for
Global.
any
international and global.
and maybe extraterrestrial.
So
Let's go
natural.
with that.
Okay. So
I mean,
the
we have-
national.
I don't know.
I'm gonna talk to him about that.
All right, we'll have to work on the
But
semantics
Ryu's doing
later.
great.
Yeah, he is.
His career's moving along, and
Yes, it is.
he's young, he's hungry, and he gets to it, man. He doesn't wait for things to happen. He makes things happen.
And if you want to watch some of Ryo's matches, we've got lots of them up on our YouTube channel. In addition, you can also check out our Flashback Friday. This week, it is Drolix versus Matt Taven, all the way back to 2014 anniversary. So you can check out Ryo's matches on there, lots of our MCW stars, and also that Flashback Friday.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. I know we recently called a Drolix match on Breakthrough with himself versus Miles Hawkins, I believe, who's one of the hot graduates out of here, the MCW Pro Wrestling Training Center. And listen, if you are local, or even if you're not, even if you're around the way or far away and looking for a great place to train, there's no place better than right here in Maryland at the MCW Pro Wrestling Training Center. Some of the biggest names, past and present, have come out of here, and it's just a great, solid training, great, solid crew. I forget where I was going with that.
Well, I want to jump on that for a second and say, while we have not had live shows in a year and a half, what we have done is put through a lot of training center students. I think we've had something like 60 or something in the last year sign up. So, we've not just been resting our laurels here. We've been out there preparing for shows, getting new students ready. So when we welcome fans back into the arena on Saturday, July 24th, tickets are still available. You go to MCWProWrestling.com and pick up those tickets.
Cannot wait. Can't wait.
That's right.
So we have not been sitting in the soundproof room for 18 months. We have been doing things.
We have been doing lots of things. So we got lots in store for you coming up in this upcoming season. We're putting a lot of shows together, and we'll have those dates posted shortly. But yeah, right now we're just getting ready for that July 24th show. It'll be
Resurrection.
Great. Yeah.
Resurrection. We return again.
Again.
And again.
We've had a couple of resurrection shows.
That Phoenix goes to sleep and rises. It just keeps rising over and over and over.
Well, that's what they do. They come back from ashes. That's the whole myth of a phoenix. So
prove it.
It's a myth. I just said.
It's a myth.
Have you not read Harry Potter?
Not read it?
Okay.
I'm an adult man. I'm sorry. No offense.
I'm
Eddie.
reading
It's
it
great.
right now.
It's great.
I'm reading
it is
it right
great
now for like the fourth time.
No, it is. I'm just
okay.
busting
Well,
chops.
okay. Watch the movies. All right.
Yes, the movies are great.
See, thank you. And the phoenix in that movie is Fox, and he comes back, from ashes. That's the whole story of it. Okay.
I believe you now. I believe you. I don't want to argue about it, but
yeah, definitely not about Harry Potter though.
No.
I have strong opinions about Harry Potter.
I'm starting to learn that. It's my first time here.
Well, I have a Harry Potter tattoo on my arm.
Let me see that.
It's a quote.
What's the quote?
Sirius Black said.
What did you say?
Yeah.
Sirius Black. That's the guy's name. It's Harry Potter's godfather.
Oh, okay.
All right.
He said, "The ones that love us never really leave us." And I got it in memory of my grandfather.
That's very nice. Yeah. I like that.
It's my subtle Harry
very
Potter.
Very sweet.
Potter.
Just like my subtle Ultimate Warrior reference here on my arm.
And what's that?
It says, "In the clouds, always believe."
Well, something about always believing and the MCW Pro Wrestling Training Center coming together. I think we can talk a little bit about our guest this week.
That's right. He is a graduate from our
Once Upon a Time.
Yeah.
And
do you guys have any glasses since we're talking about drinks? Because I want to pour one.
Oh, I don't think that's for you.
You can't
I think
drink
that's
on
for
this
our
job,
guest.
bro.
Yeah,
I've told you
that's
that.
That's the good stuff. But we got some rail bottles in the back. Some
Of course.
rail tequila for you.
Well, I mean,
It's your birthday.
Oh, no,
is.
wait.
Party like it's
We've
your birthday.
got White Claw.
Where? You didn't tell me about that. Look, that's like a perfect night for me. Rail drinks, White Claw, carry me out of the building.
Hey, well,
That's a Deacon Storm party right there.
I got somebody to carry you out if you act up, and he's our guest. He's the former MCW heavyweight champion, like a few times over. He was almost the longest reigning MCW champion.
So close.
So close. His name is Mr. Dante Caballero, and I believe he will be joining us in just a few moments here on the MCW Cast.
El
So
Jefe.
buckle in, light them up if you have them, pour them out if you got them, and enjoy yourself as we come back with Dante Caballero right here next on the MCW Cast.
We hope you're enjoying this week's episode of the MCW Cast. At MCW Pro Wrestling, much like many small businesses throughout the country, the pandemic has presented many challenges. For a company like ours that hosts events with live audiences, the impact has been even more severe, and all of our forms of revenue have been cut off. In order to continue to engage with our fans on a regular basis, we made the decision to begin to produce the MCW Cast and are providing it for absolutely no cost on Facebook Live, Twitch, YouTube, and SoundCloud. If you'd like to support us during these challenging times, you can do so in several ways. The most popular way is to buy us a coffee to help fuel the cast. Just go to buymeacoffee.com/MCWcast, and for just $3, you can buy the cast a coffee. Or you can choose to become a member of the cast for just $5 a month and receive several special perks. That's buymeacoffee.com/MCWcast. You can also contribute directly on Cash App, MCW Wrestling, or on Venmo, MCW-Wrestling. You can also show your support for the MCW Cast while sporting some great gear by going to teespring.com/stores/MCW Cast to pick up a full line of official MCW Cast merchandise, from coffee mugs and face coverings to t-shirts and sweatshirts. Also, don't forget to comment in the threads on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch to get your questions answered on a future episode. And you can also send us a tweet using the hashtag AskMCWCast. Thank you for your support, and now, back to the show.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the MCW Cast. I am Deacon Storm, joined by my broadcast partner, Brent Herring, and Tara. But right here, we have El Jefe, the king, former MCW heavyweight Rage Tag Team Champion, almost Shamrock Cup winner.
Almost.
Yeah. El Jefe himself, Dante
There we go.
Caballero.
The big guy. Yeah.
Big guy. How's it going, man?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you guys?
It's hot as
It's
hell
hot as
in
a
here.
mother-
It's
It's
hot as hell in
It's
here.
hot as a
I
bug over
I
here.
had planned on dressing nice. You know how I'm
don't
always
do it.
but I
Yeah.
couldn't do it.
No,
you know?
no. I almost brought my suit game here, and I was like, nah, that ain't
Yeah,
happening.
nah, it's
You
not
get the
gonna
polo
happen.
today.
I'm getting ready for the afterlife over here.
No, man.
Like, I am verklempt. Thank you to our wonderful director over there. Thank you so much.
Good guy. Good guy. So,
The sound of me drinking water. Excuse me, dead air.
yeah. I mean, as long as you
But
got
I'm
something-
gonna say it's warm, but I'm pretty used to this weather. You know,
I
back
say, you're from
home,
the- you're from
back
the
home is
tropics,
almost
man.
just like this.
You're from the island, as they call it in the biz,
yeah,
aren't
La
you?
Isla. Yeah.
Did you call it the island before you got here and learned that was kind of like a term within the industry?
So no, but you know what's interesting is back home in Puerto Rico. So I'm from like the center of the island, right? And there's always, the people that are like normally richer, higher class, right? They normally tend to live in the metropolitan area, like San Juan, Bayamón, that
Right.
area. So those people from that area, Guaynabo, San Juan, the metropolitan area, like they tell that us that are from the other part of the island, we're from the island.
You're from the island.
We're from the island, but I always say like, so you guys are from the continent of Puerto Rico? Like, you know what I mean? Like you're like
Just
30
what?
min's from where I live. What's happening here?
It's
you know?
just
like,
the degree of separation
yeah,
of class.
just
is
cause,
it like,
just 'cause, right? You know,
right.
I know.
Interesting.
In your
So when it come
description,
here,
though,
it
I'm
was
sorry.
different,
go-
you
yeah.
know?
Yeah, in your
But-
description, I always imagine like all their houses are like 6 stories, and they just wear all white. all
Yeah,
day long.
yeah.
And the
you know
and the
what I
fedora
mean?
around
It's
top.
always in high class.
So you were from the center of the island.
Yeah.
And let's talk about like growing up in Puerto Rico. I mean, it's similarities, differences. What did you experience? What was life like as a child for Dante?
So before that, just so so my parents, they met each other at Penn State University
Okay.
in State
Oh,
College.
okay.
And so I was born actually at State College.
Okay.
Wow.
And then quickly afterwards, my parents decided, they graduated from college and they moved back Puerto Rico.
Back to Puerto Rico.
So I think that's why maybe luckily I speak English like this, you know
Right.
what I mean? Because I learned almost English at the same time as I did Spanish.
Mhm.
But growing up, to be honest, I want to say it's really similar to maybe Florida people relate to it a lot because it's really Americanized.
I've put in my Florida time.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
it's really Americanized. Yeah, the people all speak Spanish, but I don't think anybody doesn't understand English.
Right.
They might choose because people get insecure about accents and this and that. But I always argue that I feel like Puerto Ricans are going to know more English than Americans know Spanish. You know what I
That's
mean?
Okay,
probably
yeah, I
a
can see
very
that.
accurate
That's
assessment.
No doubt.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Sure.
even if it's a little bit, you know.
I mean, yeah, your day one here. I remember pretty close to that. You and your brother.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you guys were completely fluent and I mean, as comfortable as two people can be like their first week at a wrestling school.
Of course, yeah.
You know, it's
Which, of course, it
terrifying.
wasn't, like, I might have looked comfortable, but I wasn't, you know? Like, I'm really good at faking.
right.
So this was what, back in 2016 when you came here to
2017,
MCW?
right?
Oh,
No,
it's moved
2015.
2015.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Oh,
And then
wow.
you made your debut in 2016, right?
2016,
That's
yep.
it. Okay. So
Yeah, there we go.
2015, you land here in MCW. Now, how did you get from Puerto Rico? Were there any stops along the way? Were you wrestling? Were you training?
So, yeah, like, so I
Was
was
it
originally-
legal?
What was it legal?
Said-
Well, don't get me wrong. I don't know if
You can't talk about
when
it.
I was training if it was like a legal facility, but like no. But so originally the plan was like I was gonna. So my parents, my dad, he's in politics.
Okay, yeah.
my grandfather, he was a mayor for 18 years. He died. Then my dad pretty much like took up the mantle in a way. And also my mom has also been like former Secretary of Education in Puerto Rico. So they've been involved in politics.
Is this local politics of your the mayor of the town you guys are from, or is it another town?
So for example, my dad, mayor of my town.
Okay.
But my mom, she was Secretary of Education of the whole country of Puerto Rico.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So she was overseeing like, all the school programs, this and
Sure.
that and all that stuff. So, like of course, but that's my parents, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like accomplishments. And of course they wanted me to like kind of like follow in their footsteps in a way. So I, studied, went to college. I graduated from biology. I was planning on being a doctor. But to be honest, I've always been a fan of wrestling. And my love of wrestling comes from family as well, because my grandma would always tell me that I would remind her of her mom, my great-grandmother. Because, number one, we apparently have the same hair.
Okay.
You do have wonderful hair.
Thank you.
Oh yeah.
Apparently, we have the same mole, right, in the same exact place. And we both loved wrestling.
Wow.
Apparently, my great-grandmother, she was, like, Carlos Colon's #1 fan. Like, she would be
Wow.
that lady that was in the rocking chair, like, selling the punches with Carlos, giving them right back.
There every
awesome.
week.
Listen, every
That's
week.
so awesome.
week.
Like, if something would happen
Wow.
to Carlos, she was going to try to jump the guardrail, you know what I mean? Like,
It's a different ball game
yeah, it's
there,
cultural.
right? It's cultural. Like
Yeah.
we can't. It's tough to relate. Like wrestling is Americana here in the United States, but in Puerto Rico there's a type. It's like Memphis wrestling around this country there's what we call Gaga. It's a lot of whoa and gimmicks and ha and things like that. But Puerto Rico has a reputation.
Yeah.
It loves blood and guts.
Yep.
Like that's the rep of the island. Is that your experience? Would you say that's the absolute truth?
So we back home we would say puño y pata, which is punches and kicks.
Punches and kicks.
Yeah,
Okay.
like, that's what we want to
Okay.
see. Punches and kicks. You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
doesn't matter. We didn't care if it's clean, not clean. It doesn't matter. Like
a fight.
Exactly. Like and you can see a couple like the 2005-ish IWA, the Savio ran company, right? Like
But Casey
back in-
James.
yeah, like Ricky Banderas and all
Yep.
those guys, they were like,
Apollo.
bats and this and that, like, and I don't know, like, it was always like, so for us, it's cultural, like, in reggaeton music, you're gonna hear about Carlos Colon, Abdullah the Butcher, and stuff like that, like, it's almost ingrained. So that's why I always had that love with me, and so even though I was, like, studying and stuff, I never felt passionate.
Okay.
It was almost like I was going through the motions in a way. And I was doing what I was supposed to do, right?
Right.
Which you're supposed to get good grades, get a good job, meet a nice girl, nice boy, nice partner,
Whatever. Yeah.
find a nice place, and then wait to die. I don't know what to, like, don't get me wrong,
If you
yeah,
put
there's
it
stuff
that
that
way.
happens in between, but like,
Yeah.
There's a path you're supposed to follow, right?
yeah, but like I just I don't know. I never, and then of course you could always argue, yeah, but didn't you want to like follow like on your dad and your grandfather's footsteps and all that stuff? And to be honest, like I didn't, cause I don't know. I felt, and selfishly I felt like I've always was meant for something,
Mm-hmm.
and it not necessarily means that it's following somebody else's legacy.
Sure. I mean, like it's a weird thing. Like, and I don't know if it's generational or cultural, but that we come from a lot of individualistic mentality of
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
we're gonna do our own thing. We went like we want to carve our own path, as opposed to in the past a lot of times you inherit the hardware store or
Yeah.
you know what I mean, and there's a lot of honor in that, and like honoring past generations, but I don't know if that's a new thing. I'm
I
not
think
the
it's
guy
a
to talk
cultural
about
thing.
it.
I think
Yeah.
that that's
Yeah.
something that other societies might be more prone to do. I mean, just even the way like this country overall approaches like our aging parents or something, for example, that we have homes for them, but
Sure.
not our homes.
Right.
And like that doesn't happen in other countries.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
Oh, yeah, they
Like
say
my
they're-
grandma's the matriarch of the family, you know
Right,
what I mean?
right,
We
like-
will live at homes and she will come visit us. It's not the opposite way.
Oh,
you know what I
Exactly.
mean?
Exactly.
Oh.
Like
Like,
that's
she's the one. You know?
yeah, it's just a different thing.
It's just a
So
different thing.
It is.
So
it definitely is.
so Dante, so you grew up the son of a mayor,
Mhm.
and you had all this like you say your mother was Secretary of Education. Did that make things difficult for you growing up, as far as like because because you're looked at kind of like a golden child because your father's the mayor. So it's like, was that like a problem for you when you were little?
So yes, but I think it has helped me now.
Okay.
Just because no matter what I did, it was always because of where I was from, who my parents were. Pretty much no matter what I had accomplished, it was because somebody had accomplished something before me.
Okay.
So I started, for example, working at a bakery shop at 15 years old because I wanted to make my own money because I didn't want to ask for money. And yes, the reason why I got that job was because of connection. Like my dad got me that job, right?
Yeah.
But I was still there at 5 a.m. on my own, working this and that. So regardless of what would happen, it would always be, yeah, you're daddy's boy, this and that.
Right. So the expectation was always there, but you tried your best to try to break through that.
Yeah,
and
like
get
I
it
would,
through.
like at wherever I was, I'm going to be the hardest working guy, so you cannot say that. And if you want to say that, it's because you're being petty and bitter.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And then, so I felt that helped me because when I got here, I kind of felt the same way. Like I'm gonna outwork everybody 2 or 3 times just because I have to. Well, I've been used to it at the same time, and no matter what, nobody's gonna say. And to be honest, that's what I loved about wrestling. That no matter what, nothing was gonna be given. And I noticed that from day one when I got here, especially like with Bruiser and stuff. I knew nothing was gonna be given to me. If anything, I would have to crawl and like earn it the hard way, the bad way,
Yeah.
So like, and I appreciate that.
You had
know?
some training before you got here, though, right?
Yeah.
That's
So
right. Okay.
when I was in college, not passionate about what I was studying, these situations back home, since wrestling is, like I said, cultural, it's really hard to get into. Like it's really protected.
Yeah.
You need to actually be the friend of somebody that was maybe in the
Involved.
business.
Yes.
And if they feel that you can provide something to the business, that's when you'll get in. But if,
you just don't get to
no,
knock
no,
on the
no,
door
you
and
don't
say,
get to like, oh, let me try this out Saturday. No. That
Right.
doesn't happen.
Right.
No.
It doesn't happen. So
and that's kind of a beautiful thing, right?
yes, I agree with you 1,000%. Because, dude, like those stories about how like Hulk Hogan apparently got his like leg broken the first day, and it was like, oh, let's see if he comes back, and he came back. So I didn't get my leg broken, but the first day that I was there, I was definitely thrown from the top rope. You know what I mean?
How bad do you want it?
Body drop.
Yeah.
And it was like, well, Ric Flair did this at 50-something, landed on his head. How bad can that be? It was terrible. It was terrible. Especially landing there in your hip and not like how you're supposed to.
Oh man.
Wow.
So they
man.
did, like, they were pretty rough. I'm not going to say, like, I learned either psychology, either a right hold, hey, not even throwing a good punch. You know what I mean? But if anything, they definitely were like, respect is the most important thing, right? And then the second thing is I was not scared of taking bumps.
There it is.
You know what I mean? At least that's the thing that I learned there. And it was at a place called Puerto Latin Wrestling. And it was like a cousin of a friend of a cousin. And, I was like a decent size, In Puerto Rico, everybody's around 5'7", 5'6", I'm 6 feet.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, and I kept going back. Eventually, I went to a better school, which is a wrestler by the name of Star Roger, just to give him a plug, because he's honestly a great professional wrestler, Puerto Rican wrestler. And to be honest, I was there only like 2 months, 3 months, and I tore my ACL. And I was a little bit bitter because like I got hurt, nobody like checked up on me. At the same time, I'm the rookie that was there 2 months, and for argument reason, they would have thought that I would have quit anyways.
Right.
Right. Let's be honest. So I was, bitter. What am I gonna do? And to be honest, I kept feeling like that what I was studying wasn't gonna be it, and I need to like.
And you're
pursue
studying
this
biology.
Yeah, and I'm about to graduate, and I don't know.
Have you applied for med school? Have you done any of this?
Yeah.
MCATs.
Yeah. I've been studying that summer before to take the MCAT and all that stuff. I've been applying all that stuff but the whole time I've been like lackadaisical going away.
Sure.
And I just decided like, you know what, I'm just gonna like bet on myself, fall, just go. Lucky for me, I had my girlfriend at the time, which I'm still with, and both of us wanted to like leave the country at that point to like just hey, let's see what's out there. There's a saying in a song in Puerto Rico that it says, like, if you want to play in the big leagues, you got to go outside. And that's exactly what we had to do. You know what I mean? We wanted to, like, play in the big leagues, so we had to go outside.
Got to go where the action is,
You know,
man.
so that's literally, I started September 22nd, 2016. I arrived in D.C. August 5th.
Okay.
Wow.
So I
Wow.
moved, and I did my research. I had looked up all the best schools at that point. I had seen that Leo was, like, on a roll.
Mhm.
You know, I had seen all the reputation MCW had. My brother, he had, like, been in a training a little bit with Rambo. I know you guys talked
Yeah,
about
yeah.
that with Rayo last time. And afterwards, we were like, dude, I really want to do this and that. So luckily, my brother was here too, so we both started at MCW.
Did he come over at the same time as you, or
No, he was here.
He was
So he was smart enough to, like, go to Penn State to study.
Okay.
You know, he followed a little bit more, like, the path, you know, in a way. So he was here for a minute now.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
I do
it
miss
was
that
a lot
guy.
easier.
I do miss that guy.
Yeah,
It's-
yeah.
Oh, me
great to be
too.
around,
For
yeah.
those of you who don't know, he was one of our Rock and Bowl Express
Yeah,
members.
the biggest dude.
So
the
good.
biggest dude of the
yes.
rock and roll.
Hilarious.
One of my favorite gimmicks
That's
ever.
right. Because I remember the first time I met you.
Yeah.
And it was you and your brother, and I was like, oh man, I just had I had a weird feel, like it's weird because sometimes when you see a new class of young guys and wrestlers signing up, it's like you can kind of look around and go, okay, if they don't die and they don't quit, here's who's probably, and then you'll get
Yeah.
like two that'll surprise you. And but like I was like, this guy's gonna be fine. He's gonna be fine. And I was trying to talk to you about Puerto Rican wrestling. I remember. I was like, I'll try to be cool over here. I'll try to talk to you because I know a little bit about Puerto Rico just from, you know, a bunch of people wrestling over there. And yeah, so you emanated, you played the confidence good, but
Thank you,
there was a
thank you.
humility to it. Now,
Yeah.
you know, you weren't like it was just my space. I'm confident in, you know, and that's something very.
But I never
important.
wanted to, like, I knew where I was.
Sure.
You know, like, I knew who I was. I wasn't, you know, just because I had taken bumps 2 months ago, that didn't mean anything.
Doesn't mean
right? And I
anything,
know
right.
this, you know.
Right.
So I know where I was. I know what I needed to do. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's definitely, like, jarring at first. You know, like, I graduated college already, so I felt like I'm a little bit more of a man to be treated like this.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah. Am I letting them talk to me? This
And it's only because you're also with maybe like an 18-year-old guy, like, next to you.
Right.
Yeah,
And you're
60, we have
like,
16-year-olds.
You know, like,
yeah.
and at that class, I did have a guy that was like
16
a kid. That was
yeah.
Yeah.
But that's all ego too, right?
Yeah, it is.
It's all ego.
Because at the end of the day, like, it's like nothing that was. Nobody's being disrespectful.
Right.
Honestly,
Right.
let's be honest. Like, yeah, it
And
could
it
be
is
like,
kind of for your good at the end of the day,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
and at the same time, we can't, like, I don't know. It was definitely maturing for me in a way. Like, it was helpful just to, like, not take myself a little too seriously. Be
Right.
like just confident. Like, we're just like all like guys, but we're pushing each other, right? Like, we're just like trying to like pretty much like instill confidence in each other by threatening each other's position in a way. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah, a lot of helping, a lot of-
yeah. Being competitive.
It
always
is-
good stuff.
It is
and,
very
and
competitive.
did you start like though bonding with those
Yeah.
guys that you're training and hanging out with or carpooling with or whatever, and you kind of form that little group? Like every training class has their little clique, you know. So
Mhm.
who was your group here at MCW? when
So
you
the
started?
thing is that, like, my class started fading really quickly. You know, so it started like just dropping
peeling
like
off.
flies, you know? And at first, you know, there's always a period that you have to, like, almost like earn it in a
Mhm.
way. But luckily, at this point, AML was running a lot of shows back in North Carolina, and Joe Keys, Rob, and Ken Dixon, they pretty much like they went out of their way to let me know, hey, we have a show this weekend. Like, if you just want to like carpool with us, like, you're welcome.
That's how it's done.
You know, and I was like, yeah, like, I don't care. Like, I'll drive this. And like, why? Because they're working. I'm not
Yeah.
working.
Mhm.
You know, so
And you want to offer something too,
Yeah,
right?
like,
They're giving you, they're
something.
reaching out to you. Let
you
me
know,
offer something.
if not, like, I'm gonna stay awake.
Yeah.
You know, like, try to provide something.
Something,
Which
yeah.
I think this is something that, like, some guys need to learn a little bit more. Just because I've been in rides that it's like you're just gonna sit in the back and like fall asleep. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I get it that you're maybe like sleepy and stuff like that,
Oh,
like
man.
tired.
I
But
remember
like I don't know, like
Wake up.
wake up.
Yeah.
like,
that
you
was
really-
like told to me at
Yeah,
Bone
don't
Breakers.
do it.
Do not ever fall asleep.
'Cause
And
they'll
at the
get
time,
you.
I had an SUV, so I'll just drive. You know, I could fit
Yeah.
7 guys in the back of my car.
Yeah.
So it was like, but it
That
was,
was a big
absolutely
no-no.
told, do not ever fall asleep. Like if
Yeah.
you're the rookie in the car or whatever, you better
No,
not
you have
fall
to be there.
asleep.
Like,
Like,
just put music on, do something.
Do
right?
something.
Talk
Talk
talk,
about the
whatever,
business, figure it out.
anything.
Yeah, I mean,
Yep.
I made that mistake my first year. I got chopped so hard in the back
Ooh.
seat, and I was like, oh, okay,
that
that's what that means. Okay,
Yeah. that-
wake up. All right, guys.
What-
Did you have one too many White Claws?
Ooh, no, White Claw wasn't a thing yet.
Ah!
It wasn't a thing yet.
What I want to ask you, Dante, what was the reaction from your parents?
To be honest, disappointment.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. And to be honest, I felt, man, it was a while till I felt like I was a disappointment. You know, now I kind of don't care in a
Sure.
way. Just because no matter what, I'm standing on my own 2 feet. I'm doing my thing, and you know, win, lose, or draw, I'm dying on my sword, and I'm fine with that.
Who
You
has to
know.
wake up at? Nobody else has to wake up and put on your shoes, right?
No, like
Mhm.
and
Right.
and like my brother who's now not wrestling anymore. Like he's the one that was like, dude, no matter where you are, you're living your dream.
Mm-hmm.
Not many people can say that.
So
no matter
important,
what
too.
position
That's
you
true.
are,
It's so important.
you're still like remember that you're living your dream.
Yeah.
You're just maybe not exactly
Where you?
where. you
What,
know?
what chapter in the dream? Or,
Yeah, but
yeah.
you're already like in that tunnel.
Yep.
So that light is definitely there, you know.
Yep.
So like that definitely puts it in perspective.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, at first it was definitely like, are you sure this and that, and at the end of the day, I was like, hey, I'm graduating. I'm leaving the country. It's not like you guys have to like help me out or anything. But now I feel I definitely like earned respect in a way. Because another thing, I'm the younger brother. So that's another thing too. You always like the younger brother is always like, what is he gonna do? This and that. Is he gonna? And I felt like that helped me like I'm my own person in a way,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
you know. So I don't know. Now I feel a lot more confident now. Like even before, it was almost hard to like visit home in a way,
Yeah.
Yeah.
just because like you know the first year you're just training, so I
So
have
there's an
nothing to provide.
expectation,
Yeah.
right? What have you been doing?
I have nothing to
Right.
show.
Just getting beat up
You
every
know
day.
what I mean? Like I got a really good wrist lock that I can say.
Well, listen, we got to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to hear more about you living the dream
Yeah,
and
definitely.
some of the hurdles and successes you've been encountering since then.
Yeah.
So stay with us, and we'll be right back with Dante Caballero.
Show your support for the MCW Cast while sporting some great gear by going to teespring.com/stores/MCWcast. You can pick up a full line of official MCW Cast merchandise, from coffee mugs and face coverings to t-shirts and sweatshirts. Visit teespring.com/stores/MCWcast. Fuel the MCW Cast by visiting buymeacoffee.com/MCWcast. And for just $3, you can buy the cast a coffee. Or you can choose to become a member of the cast for just $5 a month and get several additional perks. That's buymeacoffee.com/MCWcast.
All right, we are back with our special guest, Dante Caballero, former MCW Heavyweight Champion, Tag Team Champion, and Rage TV Champion.
Yeah.
So you're joining us here. You were telling us before the break about your journey from Puerto Rico to Maryland to start training at the MCW Pro Wrestling Training Center. And you came here with your brother.
Yeah.
So when
Well, not
you-
with his brother. His
well,
brother
no,
was here.
his-
He
he
came
was
here with his
you
girlfriend.
came here to MCW with your brother. Sorry. And when you got here, what was like the hardest thing for you to adapt from what you had learned with Puerto Rican wrestling and then coming here to do like this style of training, this style of working?
Or did you expect something different? Like,
So I definitely expect something different. If I'm being honest, I don't know. Puerto Rico had a reputation, so I definitely didn't feel
You thought it'd be scarier?
Unsafe? I didn't feel unsafe.
Unsafe. There was there.
I felt like I was definitely in a legit facility, right? That like,
Right, where people aren't going to get murdered.
Yeah,
no one's gonna get
room.
stabbed down
nobody's-
here.
No.
Like, and don't get me wrong, it's not like that never
Right.
like happened over there, but
Right.
like at least for me. But,
But it could get
but
dicey
it,
over
but
there.
It could get dicey,
Yeah.
right? And like I said, like there's a lot more. It's a lot more. I don't want to say serious, but it's a cultural thing, so it's defended differently than how it's defended here. So at least I didn't feel like I was gonna get like physically beaten up here
And left in an alley.
left in a ditch.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
And to
like
beat a guy like you up, it ain't gonna be a fair
it's gonna
fight.
be a,
Oh yeah, it's gonna be
you're
like
gonna have
5
to-
people.
you're gonna
there.
have
to be
put you
honest,
down.
me and my brother were both like, hey man, like if anything happens,
Yeah.
I got your back, you got mine. We're
Right.
good, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we're good.
Right.
So like whenever, and honestly, we did have these conversations because
Yeah.
we never know.
you don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't know. We're going into like, a room filled with like people that are, you know what I mean? Everybody's trying to gain
Physical.
Everybody's trying to like earn this jersey at the end of the day, and there's
Yeah.
only so many.
Yeah.
So like, I can either take out my competition from the beginning or later on, but I gotta take them out. You know, so
I
like,
love that.
so at the beginning, that was the first thing, but I want to say the standards. The standards here were like night and day, because I went to a couple shows back home, and it's like, as much as it's like you feel the realness with the punches and kicks, there's like sloppiness in terms of production. You know,
Sure.
and it's not as organized. The show is scheduled at 6:30. It started at 8:30.
Oh.
Oh wow! Can you
like,
imagine if we
I
did
don't
that
miss
here?
those days.
You know, there's
Oh
an
my
hour
God.
intermission that went longer. Like it's wild.
Yeah.
It's wild, right?
Yeah.
So,
Terrible.
but here, everything being so professional, and I didn't expect it like at the indie level, like so that was definitely like, and don't get me wrong, MCW is like crazy good.
Yeah.
It's almost hard to compare it to even other indies. So I went, it was night and day, man.
was night and day.
It felt like I was like, this is like WWE production level.
There was
So,
a
like.
there was a time though when the indie like MCW, a lot of indies hadn't stepped up.
Yeah.
Like it was in the past 10 years that indies have had to. You've had to because people have access to so much now that if you're just putting up a black curtain and
It's not
talking,
enough.
you're not doing it.
No.
And
Not
if you're
enough.
if you're putting on shows but not giving your main roster people a place to train and perfect themselves, I mean, if you just want these weekend warriors who just come out and work one show a month, like you're gonna have a product that reflects that.
Yeah.
And,
Absolutely.
when you have other, not just us, obviously there are other places across the country that have, a similar setup where they've got the whole facility, they've got a gym, they've got, they're doing shows, having training and stuff. That makes a huge difference.
Yeah, and
you know?
speaking of production too, not a lot of people know this, but I actually filmed your very first promo.
Yeah.
And it was right when it was the first night I was here,
Really.
and we had to take 2 takes, and in both takes he spit so much alcohol. Because at the end he was still doing this spit thing, and the first time he spit it
Pre-COVID.
directly at me, and I was just like holding the camera like, okay, that's perfect.
This is coming right.
Yeah. The second time he spit in the air, still got a little on me, but I was like, Dante, it's so nice to meet you.
Oh God.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Was there when you say it was like the production was up and better than what you kind of expected at an independent level? Was there like when you knew that you were coming to close to getting on shows
Mhm.
and making a debut? What did that look like? What did that feel like? What were you told? Because I'm sure people out there remember. They number one, they don't know what it is to be in the wrestling business. They don't know what it is to be MCW heavyweight champ, but they definitely don't know what it is to be trained at a wrestling school and ready to be a performer on a platform. Like that's a mini goal, right?
Yeah.
That was the goal, to get on the shows.
Definitely. Like, and another thing that helped me back in Puerto Rico was that there was one of the shows that they had over there, and back there when you were starting to train, you would do the refereeing, right?
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
And there was moments that like there was one time wrestlers didn't show up, and it was like, oh, let's have the referees have a match. You know what I mean? So I did have one of the worst matches in history, like easily. I'll put it there. I'll nominate myself. So yeah, I had one of the worst. So I wasn't scared about being in public. At least I always thought that like, yeah, I'm gonna be nervous here once the music starts or I hit the curtain. You don't have time to be nervous. You don't have time to like freak out, do whatever it is that you would do to, I don't know, help yourself, I guess. It doesn't help. So that never, at least that wasn't a thing that would like hold me back. I think that what was like maybe harder for me is like, yeah, I'm not scared of being out there, but who am I? You know, and that's definitely like when I was like trying to like find who Dante was, I went to a transitional period, and Bruiser was like essential in that because at first I was like really into like Sons of Anarchy, and I was like with my brother, and I was like, oh, let's do Sons of Anarchy, and Bruiser's like, how many tattoos do you have? None. And I was like, that ain't gonna work, man. And I was like, okay, I got it. So like I kept like doing research, and at least for me, I feel like I don't necessarily, yeah, I watch old wrestling because I love old wrestling and I love wrestling in general, but for like characters and this and that, I think more movies tend to like, or shows or this and that tend to be really relatable. So Narcos was coming out at the time, the story of Pablo Escobar and this and that, so that's what I got for inspiration. And don't get me wrong, maybe Bruiser necessarily didn't know specifically
that
you
you were
know,
doing
like,
Narcos, but he knew what you were shooting for.
Exactly. And he was like, okay, I know what you're trying to do.
Which is important, right?
Yeah. And he would help me, okay, maybe do this, maybe do that, this and that, because all this is going to cement what you're trying to portray, right? Which is that aura, that, like, vibe, that atmosphere.
Right, right.
So when it was time to, like, debut, to be honest, I don't love my first match here against Joe Keys. I think we could have done better, but at the same time, it's the first match. You know, you got to rip that Band-Aid open. You got to see, like, after that, it was smooth sailing because I started, like, finding more stuff. I don't know, you kind of start learning about yourself and you're like, oh, actually, I'm more of this, so I can do this. I'm more of this. And honestly, it takes time.
It does. It takes time to find your voice,
Yeah.
get comfortable in your skin.
Yeah.
And you can't listen to everybody, can you? Like, talk to me about that. Like, I know a lot of people get bogged down on going to advice to everybody, but it's a whittled down process of finding whose advice works for you, correct?
And it's specific because maybe not the whole advice is something that you can get value out of, but there's something there that is definitely a gem.
Right.
So, like, I don't know. At least I don't have any problem listening to everybody. Because at the end of the day, like, okay, you went out of your way to spend your time and attention, which is the most valuable thing that you have in life, and you spend that on me when you watch my match. And now you even want to, like, take your time to tell me, man, I have no issue. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to listen because, again, you gave me that time.
Sure.
So you have something, like, it doesn't matter how minute it is, that could help me, or it could just help me think about something else, and I can get into my own conclusions on my own.
Well, that's why I also think the bad matches are very important because those matches, having a crappy match will really help you learn what not to do, what possibly worked in front of the crowd, and not just for the crowd, but just for yourself, helping transition and kind of perfect your wrestling style of what you want to do when it comes to your character. So,
as a stand-up, you know, they say, like, to bomb is the best learning experience. Like, and, you know, as stand-up, when you're stand-up, if you're ever in a group of comics, they love to watch each other bomb. I don't think we like to watch
No,
try it again. Try it again.
But you know, I was just thinking, like,
see, it depends on where it is.
Okay, right.
So, you know, so like if, for example, if a buddy of mine bombs in like a small show,
and
oh my god,
you're gonna
it's
die,
gonna be
right?
awesome.
Right,
Oh
right.
man,
The trip back is gonna be amazing.
the whole ride just roasted.
Nobody's falling asleep on that
Exactly.
ride.
Exactly.
And nobody saw it really. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like maybe the 60, 70 people, like
No
that were
opportunity
there, like,
lost.
yeah.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. That is true. I was just thinking, like, with the advice thing, a lot of guys, there's a story, and I can't remember who, but they went up to Triple H and said, "Hey, what do you think of this thing?" And it was this thing he did in every match. He loved it. And Hunter's like, "I don't really like it." Well, now guess what, man? You can't do that anymore because you asked him what he thought, you know? So I was just thinking, like, it can be sometimes, because when you put a different spin on it, sometimes when you ask people advice, they expect you to follow it. And other times, you know, you're like, I don't know if that. So that's all part of finding yourself, is it not?
Yeah.
And so how long did that take till you were like, man, you're still finding it.
Yeah, I'm
obviously.
still there. I'm still trying to find myself in a way, just because, like, for example, like during this whole pandemic and stuff, like you end up maturing a little bit more. You end up, like, we have talked about this before.
Sure.
Like, once you start like almost like not caring as much, you end up like finding almost like a sweet spot.
Yes.
And I feel like I'm getting there in a way, just because of different like up and downs that has happened. So like I said, like I follow like, and then it depends on, some people have specialty in different stuff. So for example, Dean is really good with like character, or like but I would go to maybe Rich to talk about, like, if I have a tag match, like he would like provide me like a good like maybe heat spot or something, like a good a moment,
Right.
because like that's his specialty. So like, and so it's pretty much noticing like, oh, people are good at this guy's good at that, this guy's good at that, like this, and so that way you know what question to ask to certain people,
Right.
because definitely you don't want to ask, for argument's sake, like Ultimate Warrior how to do chain wrestling stuff. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, what are you doing, right?
Right. Absolutely. That's pretty funny. So along the way, as you're chugging along, and it's funny for me because I moved to St. Pete, Florida for about 5 years. So when I left, you were a student, and I came back, you're Dante Caballero. It's a whole. I go, wow, man, where did this guy come from? He, and I secretly said, yeah, I was right. I knew it. But once you started to hit your levels here in MCW, and got on shows here, what became the goals then as you're progressing along?
Definitely, like, I wanted to be like, when I started, Bruiser, King McBride, Drolix, those were the main dudes. So I wanted to at first my goal was to be in that contention, in that conversation, in matches against them. Because that is either going to get me to where I want to go, which is going to be the championship, face of the company, like having the marquee name, or definitely they are champions, so that means they can help me learn on the way. And how did they get there?
Now, had you ever watched MCW before coming to MCW?
I did not. Honestly, I had not seen until I started doing research.
Right.
When I started doing research, like I want to say like a month or two before, that's when I started like looking up all the archives, this and that, and old stuff. And that's when I knew, like, oh, like Mickey James came from here. Oh, Lita, this and that. Like, so like, that's when I started like, and that's another thing that was different from Puerto Rico. Like the structures of the matches here, like it, like you can follow it. You know what I mean?
There's a story being told.
Yeah, it's not like a random finish. And, like somebody maybe got hot in the middle.
So true.
Say, bump that.
Well, at least it feels real.
Right. Yeah. At least it was real. But that's so funny. Cause so yeah, there is a structure. Like even Chris Jericho, I think he said something on. I was listening to Austin's or watching Austin's show. He goes, in WCW, I didn't know what changing gears was in my heat. Like I had no idea of these things. Like you're sitting there going, huh?
Yeah.
Like really? So that doesn't surprise me.
And he had been in Mexico and Japan and all that.
Mexico,
all over the place.
Did you scratch your head at that too?
I was definitely like, man, like you were doing stuff.
You were doing well, but not knowing what the hell was going on, or like telling a story. I remember like for a while there when they say it's storytelling, I think that kind of can take a minute to get. Like you're like, what do you mean the story? You're sitting down telling, what are you talking about? But it really, the whole thing is storytelling. Like Deacon and I are narrators to the story that you guys are physically, most of the time physically, sometimes auditorily, but physically telling in that ring. And that's an important lesson for guys too. Like everything's a tool out there for the wrestlers, the commentators, the ring.
The backstage promos, your little vignettes that you share out on social media, and the months leading up to
everything you can use.
Use it
exactly.
Right. So, and especially in this competitive world where people are getting smart enough. I mean, I'd be surprised how many times like we can go up to guys and go, "Is there anything you want us to get?" And they're like, they don't even know what that means.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, okay, like, well, my birthday's in June. Like,
my move, the Tiger Driver 60,000.
Yeah, all right, man. Come on.
And I was like, why is it called that? Do you love tigers?
And this is the first time I'm seeing it, so I'm gonna know the name. Well, come on, bro.
Really annoying.
Yeah. With I've always found it interesting too coming to MCW. Like you hear a lot of people like, well, if he's never drawn money, what's he know about? But that's not true, man. There are a lot of great coaches out there who didn't draw money. Like they stayed. Their passion was, this is what I do. In addition to my real life, I would say that's the best way to put it. It's a part of my real life, but this is instead of a hobby or anything. This consumes my other life outside of work. That are great coaches. So and then some of the greatest names in the business couldn't coach or produce a wrestling class.
Yeah.
Right.
So how did you go about, like, was that just a feel? Because I know guys like Joey Mercury started coming through, and then like, so you knew he was a name, but like with RJ, the Bruiser, did you just have that feel right away? This guy.
I definitely had the feeling, because we have an expression back home, like the translation would almost be like I might be young, but I'm not dumb. You know what I mean? Like seré joven no pendejo. Like, you know what I mean? So like, at least I'm good at like keeping quiet, observing, and I'm learning. You know what I mean? I'm like, so I noticed right away that what he was saying, like, number one, I had seen in people that were doing it, right? Like, and so I would, like, for example, he would teach maybe like heat. And maybe he would recommend like, oh, look at this and this person. And I would go and I would see like, oh, this and that. So I could definitely say, okay, yeah, his resume stands. And not only that, but like seeing like Leo, seeing Patrick at the time that was also like about to be signed at that moment. Like I could tell, you know, and if not, I don't know, but because back home, because of the punches and kicks, moves were never that like big for me in a way. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy, you know, the stunner, the rock bottom, the AA. Like I'm a fan of moves and stuff, but I was always just enthralled with story,
the emotion,
characters. You know, like back in the like they didn't have like classic 5-star ratings, but I didn't care. You know, I definitely didn't care. I remember being mad when like the guy got hit in the back of the head, when he was about to like get the guy that was like maybe like talking smack about him.
Right.
Back home they would do stuff like Carlos Colon is beating up Buddy Lindell, and then like tourists would like call because there's a Puerto Rican dude beating up a white dude.
Oh my god.
And then like Carlos Colon would get put in jail.
Yeah.
Right.
And have to go through it.
And he cannot challenge Buddy Lindell, and then how he comes out literally with the same clothes he had when he was arrested. You know what I mean, with the crowd, and you're like, oh my god, like, and he's just gonna do punch, maybe a cartwheel, touch his toes, and fire up, right? Like,
What it doesn't have to do anything else. The place is just
boom.
They just wanted to see him.
Yeah, and the motion, the connection, right?
And that's what Bruiser was like. Oh my, he's master of like. He was always like facial expressions, like you would be scared of him because I would believe him. You know what I mean? So like, I definitely like that was at least something that like I got quickly in a way that was like, okay, I don't need to focus that much. Like, it's okay if my hip toss is this way, as long as I like, you know, look menacing, this and that. I'm believable. Like I'm not like don't look cheap. How he would always say, don't look cheap. Like then that's what it is, right? That's the name of the game. You just need to like suspend disbelief for a second, and I got you.
And there's a lot of guys in the game now that are, I mean, they have been, they're moved, like just consumed with the moves and consumed with
and to be honest, it's sometimes the
that
fault
works
of,
somewhere, sometimes maybe,
and
but
sometimes
not really.
people that are hiring like that, so if the people that are hiring like that, then the people that want the job are going to continue
You can
doing that, right?
Right.
So like,
where's the paycheck coming from?
Exactly. So if Burger King wants me to do, you know, a Whopper, and I start doing Big Macs, I'm going to lose my job.
Exactly.
That's the truth. So
and
now I'm hungry.
Exactly.
Well, we have to take another quick break, but when we come back, we want to hear about what has happened since coming through the MCW Training Center and some of the places that you've traveled to and worked for and where you currently are working. So stay with us and we'll be right back.
Yeah.
We hope you're enjoying this week's episode of the MCW Cast. At MCW Pro Wrestling, much like many small businesses throughout the country, the pandemic has presented many challenges. For a company like ours that hosts events with live audiences, the impact has been even more severe, and all of our forms of revenue have been cut off. In order to continue to engage with our fans on a regular basis, we made the decision to begin to produce the MCW Cast and are providing it for absolutely no cost on Facebook Live, Twitch, YouTube, and SoundCloud. If you'd like to support us during these challenging times, you can do so in several ways. The most popular way is to buy us a coffee to help fuel the cast. Just go to buymeacoffee.com/MCWcast, and for just $3, you can buy the cast a coffee, or you can choose to become a member of the cast for just $5 a month and receive several special perks. That's buymeacoffee.com/MCWcast. You can also contribute directly on Cash App, MCW Wrestling, or on Venmo, MCW-Wrestling. You can also show your support for the MCW Cast while sporting some great gear by going to teespring.com/stores/MCWcast to pick up a full line of official MCW Cast merchandise, from coffee mugs and face coverings to t-shirts and sweatshirts. Also, don't forget to comment in the threads on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch to get your questions answered on a future episode. And you can also send us a tweet using the hashtag AskMCWCast. Thank you for your support, and now, back to the show.
All right, we are back here with Dante Caballero on the MCW Cast. Real quick, we had a change of plans here. Deacon Storm had to get up and go celebrate his birthday and have a few white
claws.
Claws.
He went to get white claws.
A few
Let's
white
just say
claws.
that.
We're joined by
Went to get
John
white
Rollins
claws.
here, our one of our fantastic production hands, and also a noted wrestling and MCW historian.
Yeah. Just a little bit.
Yeah, whenever I say things on the podcast
Yeah.
that make me sound smart, like what year something was, or like remember a match, he's literally texting me and I'm reading it off my watch. I just want to say that I am the worst about dates,
should've
names,
never
and
said it.
places, and I will confuse the hell out of everything. So John saves me and makes me look way smarter.
you
I don't
should've
care. I'll own that. I'm smart about other things.
Okay.
I can't remember dates at all.
Do you
Never.
remember when Dante Caballero first won the MCW heavyweight title?
Shamrock Night 2,
See?
What year?
2018.
I don't know that. Like I'm just I'm just this
Exactly.
jawline. There's nothing behind this. I'm an empty-souled man.
In my defense, I've been here since like 2000, and all of it kind of blurs together. Let's
Yeah,
just
that's
go
true.
with that, okay?
This is true. So we were talking before, Dante, about kind of the training and everything else. And at what point, like when you first went in there and faced RJ, the Bruiser, what did you, what was good? Was that like a moment for you when you started facing your trainers? You're like, dang, man, I maybe made it here at least.
So before that, you mentioned that Joey Mercury came
Yes.
in. He started like training us, and again, I learned a lot from him. Not only so with Bruiser, I learned a lot about emotion, this and that, and with Joey, it was a lot more even just pay attention to like the cameras. Like if you're
The
trying to tell the
infrastructure.
story, you need this camera to be here, and you want the cameraman to know, hey, in this moment, I need this angle here, so I need to tell this story. Also, when this is happening, you also have to tell the commentator to put that story over in this way as well. So Joey made me understand and polish that, like, my segment, the whole segment is my responsibility. The whole segment, from hey, if the guy that does the sound doesn't have my music, that's on me. That's not on the sound guy. Like,
Right.
at the end of the day, who's the one that wants to look good? Is it you or is it the sound guy, right? So everything, the cameraman, commentators, it's your responsibility to let them know what you want to tell.
Yep.
So like that helped me in that sense. And when he started doing that, he also started being in the shows. And luckily, me and Joe Keys had the opportunity to be pretty much under him at this point.
You're like his lackeys or heaters. What was, when was that?
When did it start?
Yeah, when did it start?
Autumn Armageddon 2017.
God dang, man.
Yeah.
I'm not going to stump him out.
Yeah,
Nope.
that's insane.
And
Well, you also got to
When-
remember, I haven't been dropped on my head as much as,
okay,
as much
fair
as people at
enough.
this
When
table.
did you come to MCW? Just out of curiosity.
Right at the beginning of 2017.
Okay, so you know all of this history way before you ever came here to actually train. So
Or did you
I
I've
just wanted
had-
to throw that out there.
I've had to go back and make sure I know
Sure.
all the information.
Sure. Man, you need one of these.
I know.
Everywhere. Yeah, every
Yeah.
production you need.
Honestly,
you need a
yeah.
John Rollins, man.
Um,
So okay, so
but the thing, what I was going at is that, like, so I started working with Bruiser as one of Joey's lackeys first,
okay,
right? So
you guys were taking the beatings, taking the T-bones.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
Yep.
stacking up.
at the
Yeah,
same
I
time-
was with Joey at the same time.
Right?
Yeah, it was so much fun, wasn't
Yes.
it?
But what was best is, like, Joey and Bruiser are gonna be talking about what's gonna happen, and all we have to do is just sit there. And what would get me mad sometimes in, like, other situations is, like, other guys would maybe be in the same position, and they'll might be like talking to the side, texting here, maybe like joking around. Dude, these guys are like, man, they're giving you a PhD session.
They're gonna next level you.
If you
Yes.
laugh, Joey would look at you and say, "If you don't want to be here, you can leave."
Yes.
Like yeah.
So, like, just being there and seeing how they would, like, put a match together, put a segment together. Hey, put the show completely together, because the show is also like a match, right? Like,
Yep.
it starts here, it goes here, and especially at that time, Joey was champion. So Joey was right doing the promos in the beginning, beat down in the middle.
It's a very Joey heavy product.
Yeah.
It was.
He
It was.
had his hand pretty much on
but
everything.
he was brilliant in a lot of ways.
Yes,
right.
Yeah, and after that, like, myself, and Joe went up.
You know how to work TV now.
Exactly.
Right.
And even when we got to eventually to Ring of Honor, like, myself and Joe Keys, we've had matches, and we're like, hey, we're gonna do this. Oh, remember, we got to talk about this here. We got to, like, tell the commentators the kind of story we're trying to. So that was thanks to the learning tree from Joey at the time.
Right.
So it was great. Of course, when you're in the position, you're like, oh man, my job is to get beat up. Right? Like,
right.
My job.
Am
is
I ever
pretty
gonna get
much-
out of this hole?
Exactly. I remember there was once there was a steel cage match in Hollywood.
Yep.
And I remember we had to, like, I remember the end of it, Joey was gonna be tied up in the ropes, and we had to, like, get into the cage and pretty much receive Bruiser's, like, malice, on us, and then Joey was either gonna, like, by hook or by crook win, or it was gonna turn around and Joey was still gonna lose. I don't remember exactly.
Was that
That-
Hollywood or here?
I think
That
it was
was
Hollywood.
Hollywood,
here.
okay.
That was here. They had another steel cage in Hollywood.
We were
okay,
in the
okay.
match and don't
See, I-
remember. Good lord.
I just remember that,
You got
like,
taken out by Bobby.
Okay.
I definitely remember that.
I just remember I was like, man, I gotta like call that steel cage, and how much time? Because also Joey was like, oh, you gotta be here.
Demanded,
at this point.
yeah.
Right.
You
I
know,
know.
and-
Hollywood. I had the key. That.
Right. Like, it was.
Man, we talked that over for
Yeah, it
like
was a
2
lot.
hours. I mean, like it was intense.
Yeah.
But every little detail mattered, and that was the thing that was brilliant about it. Like all
Crash
the little
course.
things
Mhm.
that people didn't notice, that were taking place. And like with Joey, he was even setting the seeds for that and at the meet and greet
Yeah.
beforehand. He would even say things like, because I was out there with him, he grabbed me, he's like, come on, let's go do the meet and greet. And I'm like, oh boy. And he's even like kind of setting the stage for later against RJ, Bruiser, just talking smack about him,
Yeah.
and made sure to have his table all the way away. And, it was all of that.
Just taking little digs, getting the fans even more on Bruiser's side.
Sure, and not even just so much talking about Bruiser, but just healing the fans.
Yeah.
Like he
Being a
went
complete
out.
Being a
piece of
real
crap.
heel, yes.
He is such an
Because
a-hole.
When we came
It's
out
genuine
later,
hate.
they really hated
Yeah.
him. And he insulted. Special needs kids.
Oh,
like
yeah,
I'm
he's
not.
awful.
I mean,
He's
I'm
the worst.
cringing. I'm just going, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. He can't say that to these kids. Oh, please stop.
Oh, I was working security at the time, and we got
Many a
notice like
complaint.
we got a complaint, but we also got notice like keep an eye on Joey, keep him safe.
Yeah,
Because these
yeah.
fans may try to get at him.
Yeah, and,
Yeah.
and that's what made it so believable. And
Yeah.
in turn, it didn't just make him believable, it made everybody, you
Yeah.
included, so that
Because
then
that gave us that we were that same pieces
Yes.
of crap,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Equally.
Yeah, you're hanging out.
Yeah,
with
let's call
him.
it credibility.
Yeah. So
yeah, and
so
yeah,
it's amazing. I remember those matches. Like I had fond memories just because me and Joe were both in the same
Boat.
spot. it's good because you're not just alone in an island by yourself. So we could like, man, like we're learning a lot, right?
Yeah.
Like we
It's
could
pretty
appreciate it at the
intense.
time,
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
know.
And you brought up a good point there too, like the little thing. If one of those dominoes doesn't fall, the whole thing doesn't, right? So that's
Yep.
why every little thing has to be right here at this time, right there. And you've seen it 1,000 times executed
Yep.
horribly. And it's like, why didn't that work? Oh man, something came off flat. It's because usually something very minute and very small wasn't made big enough
Right.
or didn't get the right timing. So that's great. So you talk about like being TV ready and starting kind of, you go, that's how wrestling works, right? You accomplish these mini missions and you go, okay, I got my eye on the prize, and you keep moving forward.
Yep.
Ring of Honor is
Next thing, yeah.
the next thing. And tell us a little bit about starting there and how it's going.
So I'll tell you how it started, and I also have I think it's a good story.
Okay.
So I pretty much had been doing tryout matches, tryout like camps like since like 2017. I remember the first time I went, it was like in Bristol, like the whole day, like no air conditioning in the summer. It was terrible, right? But it was the first time I had done like a tryout. They gave us good feedback. Of course, I was given a no, but it was definitely like a good experience. You know, like I had conversations with like Jay Lethal, like took me to the side. He's like, "Oh, you have like you speak Spanish like this and that. Like, it's good that you use that in your character." And so like it's good to like talk with people that have been to the game and been to the dance and like just hearing their version of what I've been doing, if it's good, bad, or indifferent. So thanks to that, I got another opportunity, and also maybe because Joey was here training as well, I got
Yeah.
that opportunity to be at another tryout, but this was gonna be a tryout for the dojo. This was, if I'm not mistaken, summer of like 2018.
Yep.
So we did the tryout, and luckily I got chosen to be at the dojo, right? So everything was good. At the time, I know Brian Johnson had maybe started there, but I don't think SOS had started yet. I think they came in the second class. I believe Dak Draper came in the next class, and we were like, so what's funny, the story that I want to get to is that we're all training there. We've been there for a minute, and then so they started giving out contracts, right? And they give everybody, not everybody, but they give contracts out, and I wasn't one of the guys that were given a contract, right? And I've always been the kind of guy that like, hey man, if I do something wrong, just tell me. You know what I mean? Like, or if I need something to improve, like hurt my feelings, please. It's like,
Right.
for God's sake. So Gresham, he's the one that tells me like, hey man, like just in case, the reason why you weren't like, one of the reasons why you weren't like chosen this and that is because you know, some people say that you still don't look like an athlete. You know what I mean? You still need some work to do.
Body wise, physically?
Body-wise, physically,
Okay.
physically. And that was 2018. And
Did that hurt or at the time, or did it?
Yeah, it hurt.
Okay.
It hurt like but I promise you like not to curse, but
Yeah.
I got to say it, that ain't happening again.
Yeah.
Like I promise you that.
Yep.
So after that I've been getting in the best shape of my life, and it was thanks to that like I appreciate Gresham just being like just real with me.
Yeah.
Hey, this is and I'm sure now is another thing that I need to work on my game, which is fine.
Sure.
And it's always a step that I need to you always have to better something in your game. Like your game is never going to be perfected, and if it's perfected, it's gonna not be perfect in a couple months because you got to change it.
Yep.
Right. So that was something that the Ring of Honor experience made the almost the wrestling business real.
Yeah, because it's a business at that
You know,
point, right?
it's a business, and it's competitive, and yeah, everybody says, yo, you're only competing with yourself. Yeah, sure.
Right.
Once you get that best version of yourself, put that against the best version of somebody else, and we'll see who's gonna get the job.
Boom.
That's what it is.
Right. Right.
And don't get me wrong, I love everybody that got a contract. I never was like, hey man, like
no,
take
it's
that
not.
contract.
It's not a jealousy.
that.
It's not jealousy.
Right.
You know, it's not that, because like, dude, I like SOS. I love those guys. I hope they get $1 million tomorrow.
But you want $1 million too.
But I want $1 million, and I want to like have the condo right next to them.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
So it's not personal jealousy; it's
No,
competitive
it's
jealousy.
It's not,
competitive
well,
jealousy.
it's not jealousy at all. I wouldn't
No,
say
no,
it's
no, no.
competitive. Like jealousy is like I want what you have,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
and I don't want you to have it. That's what I
That's
see
a
as
good
jealousy.
way to phrase
Like I don't
it.
want I don't want you to have it. I want it.
Right. That's like a 2-year-old mentality. You know, that's
Right.
my toy, gimme. You know?
Competition is, hey man, good for you. I'm glad you make it. But if it comes down to you and I'm dropping you.
Yeah.
Dog. I'm dropping you. And like that, you're right. That's where it became real for
it
you.
became real.
Yeah, that's so cool. Because, like, there's two types of people, right? There's the people who would hear that. Hear, man, you don't look like an athlete. And they'd go, you know, like,
Yeah.
is he talking to me?
Like who?
Like, and they get bitter and they probably storm out and say, John Gresham's in it. You know what I mean? And they blame, right? They play the blame game. Or
get
there's
to
guys-
work.
There's guys like Dante who go, okay, I won't hear that again.
Yeah.
Now, how much of a thing is body image in Puerto Rico? So you had mentioned earlier about most of the guys there are like 5'7", 5'8". So
To be
here you-
honest, it's not that it's not that promoted. You know
right,
what I
right.
mean?
That's
Like,
what I'm
yeah,
saying. Like,
yeah.
you know, so
It's all about
you
the
know,
punches and kicks.
It's all
Right.
about the kicks.
And
And to be
carrots.
honest, like
So-
sometimes somebody's dad looks like somebody that would knock you out. So if you look like somebody's dad, you look like somebody that knocks people out. You know what I mean? Like it's almost like
So you wouldn't have expected to hear that phrase in Puerto Rico, let's say, like, oh, you need to look like a wrestler. Like, you probably already looked like a wrestler.
But
Like-
you'd figure it out, wouldn't you? Because you know a lot of the guys that draw serious money,
boom. That's where it's at.
right?
Yeah.
You got to look different, and if
The
you're-
main event definitely looks different than the rest of the card.
right?
Yes.
Right.
In the referee versus referee match.
Yeah.
So you go where the action is. You got to
Mm-hmm.
you know, it becomes a real in the sense like too. I remember when like got real for me like in developmental, going to developmental and seeing these guys, and I'm going, oh my god, this isn't a joke. Like
Yeah.
6'3" ain't nothing here. It ain't nothing. This is Jurassic Park, and I'm trying not to get eaten.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting that when that dynamic happens, and now that you have embraced that, like you're one of the, like you're a head turner now, you know, and people see you work, and it's even more so if they didn't look before. That bell rings, or they see you do the gimmick, they do pay attention now. You've seen that, right?
Yeah.
You felt that.
Yeah. Because something that Joey would say is or even I've heard it before, is it the airport test?
The airport test. Vince
Boom,
Vince
the-
wants that he wants people to be breaking their necks.
Yeah.
looking
yeah,
at
the
you.
double take.
Just
you
look
want
like,
the double
look-
take.
You look
know?
like you're somebody. You got
Exactly.
something going on.
And before I didn't, and like, I looked like, you know, I looked in shape for somebody that had an accounting job. You know what I mean? Like I looked like the jacked up dude that was in an office job, right?
Yeah.
But that can't compete with what we're doing, you know, because again, this is the big leagues. Like I said,
Yeah.
like this is not now. Yeah, I'm gonna be the best version of myself, la di da. But I'm gonna compare. I'm gonna now put that in the same vein with somebody else and see how that is, right?
Yeah.
Like, and my goal right now is that like, my goal to like now that I'm like in Ring of Honor, like I'm gonna be one of the best physiques in Ring of Honor.
Mm-hmm.
You know why? Because that's not gonna be the reason why I don't get somewhere.
Right.
That at least that that box is
but-
gonna be checked. Boom.
Right.
Let's work on something else. Or
Right.
let's or if I'm being like petty, what is gonna be your excuse now? You
Mhm.
know, like and you know, little by little you start like noticing that, and luckily I test stuff also with like friends that don't know wrestling or don't go ahead into wrestling, or they have like heard of it, right? And I sometimes like put, oh, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? What do you think about? And you get honest answers,
Yeah.
you know. And definitely the person that Roman Reigns, how he looks, come on, man.
Yeah.
Like just how he looks. It doesn't matter. I haven't seen him wrestle. I haven't seen him talk. I just see him walk out to the ring, and I was like,
That's
oh.
it. That was like
You
for
know?
last year's WrestleMania. That was WrestleMania for me. That entrance, I go, that's it. I'm done. That's it.
That's it.
That's a wrap. Like you don't need to do anything. That's
Right.
that is the business. There it is. Like
And I've heard I think it was maybe by Joey, the 3 things that you need is like look, work, and promo.
mm-hmm.
Right? So like that's one of the things that I my look. You know, I'm not gonna grow here,
No.
but I can grow here. You know what I mean? Like, that's what he said.
Yeah.
and you know, and he speaks by experience because he wasn't the tallest dude.
And he wasn't a body guy for a
No.
long time.
Yeah.
But
I
he's,
remember.
Yeah.
When he's
but
kicking
later,
the
but
cake.
at the moment that he said it, he was right.
Right,
So,
right,
like
right.
it's also like, man, you're how much older than me? You know what I mean? Like, so he definitely also like put that in perspective as to like, and he also like told me like diets and stuff like that.
Sure.
You know, but
And you've been up to WWE before, right?
I have not.
You have not yet.
I have not. No,
Okay, so like, I mean, it's now guys in Ring of Honor. There's plenty of, but there's so many there that are, you know, they have the monster factory of just like 5-7 foot guys, just in case, because 4 of them are probably gonna suck.
Yeah.
Right.
And you know, and that, but the average height, but it's changing too, because if you are under the 6 foot mark, you got to bring something.
Yeah.
You got to bring something. So, I don't know. It's just interesting to see how the business has progressed.
Definitely.
But still, what is it about? It's, would I pay money to see you? Am I going to pay money to see you and what you do?
Mm-hmm.
And it's figuring that out. That's the
Yeah.
journey, isn't it?
Yeah, you don't want to like nobody's gonna see their neighbor fighting their other neighbor, right? Why?
Right.
You just go to the side and say like, hey man, he's talking smack about you. You see what happens.
Right.
You want to see somebody that you either want to be or you would have wanted to like be like, or a fantasy. You know, it has to be bigger than life.
So I'll have to tell you this, that we had a birthday party that you worked, and
Okay.
I've never told you this before, but so
First time.
The debut of the story.
So, you worked this birthday party, and this little kid afterwards, I don't even remember which kid it was, but afterwards, he has his friends around him. It's after the cake. We've done all that. He's got his friends around him, and he's just like, the heavyweight champion was my tag team partner. And the smile on his face, and his little friends are like smacking him on the back, and they're like, he was the best partner. Like, you know, like you guys were a real tag team. You know what I mean? And
That's
you
awesome.
made this kid feel 1,000,000 feet tall that day. And they just were so excited. And, you know, you wore your whole attire. You know, the bull was even there that time. We had the drink. We had like the whole thing, the whole package, the sequins, the, you know, just everything. And it left such a memorable impression on that kid. And I'm
Man,
sure at
that's
3
dope,
a.m.
yeah.
I'll remember which kid it is. But you know, we've had hundreds of parties here, but
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm sure you did that other times too, that like I just didn't happen to overhear,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
man, that kid just thought
That's
you were the
awesome.
best
That's
thing in the
dope.
whole
You don't
entire
get many
world.
of those, right?
No,
Like,
you
no,
know?
no. Especially like I've normally been a heel.
Right,
Yeah.
So normally it's like I think now I understand why people say that heels are like nice people in reality, just because when you get that one kid that is like, man, come
Yeah.
over here.
Come
You know
over
what I mean?
here.
Like, I've been
Yeah.
getting booed for the past 2 years. you know?
Exactly. Yeah.
You're my
So,
best friend.
so we've got some questions from our fans. We're going to take another break.
Okay.
And when we get back, we're going to ask a couple of our fan questions and wrap things up. So stay with us.
Show your support for the MCW Cast while sporting some great gear by going to teespring.com/stores/MCWcast. You can pick up a full line of official MCW Cast merchandise, from coffee mugs and face coverings to t-shirts and sweatshirts. Visit teespring.com/stores/MCWcast. Fuel the MCW Cast by visiting buymeacoffee.com/MCWcast. And for just $3, you can buy the cast a coffee. Or you can choose to become a member of the cast for just $5 a month and get several additional perks. That's buymeacoffee.com/MCWcast.
All right, we are back with our guest, Dante Caballero. Before we go to our fan questions, I want to give a special shout out to our to Jeff Storm, who was watching Breakthrough from the Dominican Republic.
Get on out.
Yeah, so thanks for
neighbor.
watching. I hope that we converted
neighbor.
you,
He's a neighbor.
Yeah.
Oh, the DR and the
Yeah, the
PR.
PR.
made
and
you
the
a fan of
PR, yeah.
MCW. You know,
He's
make
a-
sure you check out all 3 episodes of Breakthrough. If you have not, by the way, you can check that out on Facebook, YouTube, and
Yeah, it's a
Everywhere
great show. I actually, Breakthrough episode 2, Dante and Eric Martin. I mean, these guys had a hell of a match. Like you sometimes when you call wrestling, you just forget that you're calling. You like you just,
Yeah.
but like
It's like when
Get-
I'm in the match, I don't notice till I see it.
right.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I was like, that was really like you guys. When you hook the announcers, you're doing good. because it's, it can be old hat for a lot of announcers. But when you hook them, you go, damn, this is a good match. So you guys really tore it up there, and that's kind of like what people have come to expect. It's a standard, right?
Yeah,
and
it is.
There it is.
It
Yeah,
is.
and Eric Martin's a guy who also has been working on his physique.
And,
he
like,
went from being like an in shape kind of guy to being
They
looking
look
like
like
a
two
wrestler.
studs,
yeah,
in the
for
ring.
sure.
And like I
thoroughbreds.
remember seeing that match afterwards because it was a time right before it came out. And when I saw that match, I was like, man, we're beating each other up, man. Like, and I remember like, yeah, did I have like issues with my head afterwards? I don't remember. Maybe that's part of it,
Right.
Like I don't know, but yeah, like I love that match.
It's a great match.
killer
It really
match.
is. It really is. So if you haven't gotten a chance, go through, watch all the breakthroughs. That one's on episode
Yeah,
2.
there
and
are
it's
3 of them.
If you can't be on last, be on first.
Yeah,
There it
Set the
is.
tone for the show.
Yeah.
That's right. And the show, again, is coming up July 24th. You can still get tickets. I know first and second row have been sold out pretty much from the day that tickets went on sale.
And they're
You know,
going quick. so
Exactly. So, but there's
jump
plenty
on
of
it.
room. It'll be nice and toasty in here July 24th, and we'll pack them in. So it'll be great to see our.
It's gonna be a good show.
it is going to be a good show.
We always have a show in July because that's traditionally our Shamrock Cup. So we kind of
Sure.
just know it's going to be hot in here,
It's funny too. Like I think one of the things that remember when you get to a show and it'd be like, I don't know, 100 people or 70 people, like, man, wish there were more people. Like I wish there were 70 people. Like the things we take for
Oh my
granted
God,
when
yeah.
you're without now, right?
Oh yes.
You'd kill for some just give me something. Give me something.
Give me a really invested family.
Give me
Just
a really invested Puerto Rican family.
Yeah, just give me
Everybody.
just 10,
Yeah.
grandma, grandpa, just into it.
Yeah.
Give them some alcohol before.
Let 'em
maybe.
go.
Let them go.
Yeah.
Well, I think the fans will be on fire that night. They've been deprived for a year
Come
and a
on out,
half,
man.
so I think they're gonna be not gonna disappoint, right?
And I don't think the guys in the back and the girls in the back who have been waiting to perform in front of an audience, they are not going to let y'all down. Man.
No.
Saturday, July. I got the former heavyweight champ. This almost the longest
Almost.
reign.
Yeah.
2 days shy.
This guy. No, you're just like making me feel bad. Just God.
But yeah. So they're going to leave it all out there in the ring, no doubt about it, and going to be just as happy to see y'all as we are. here.
And then you got El Jefe in one of the marquee matches.
Yeah.
That fatal
Main
4-way.
event.
Oh yeah.
Main event.
Main event.
It made, as far as we're concerned, main event.
I don't know what else
Is gonna
I
top
just-
that.
Yeah, I just
That's
So you
why
got-
it's the main event.
So you got Dante Caballero. Run it down for us, John.
Dante Caballero, Brandon Scott, Kakoa, and Brian Johnson, all vying for that Rage Television Championship
For the race, for the title.
for the actual championship.
So Leo Rush has vacated the MCW Rage TV Championship, and
he saw how big I was getting.
is that he got a little shook.
He was like,
Said, "I'm gonna stay at home. I'm done. I'm good with that, bro.
Yeah.
I'm good with that."
Started singing.
That's gonna be a hell of a match. I mean, Mecca Brian Johnson's one of my
He's on a
favorites
roll.
in the game, man. He really is. So
And now you've held the Rage TV title before, and Brandon has too, right?
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So all right.
So
It's
hey,
gonna be
man,
good.
same airspace. We all can't exist there. Somebody's got to come out
No,
on top.
But at the end of the day, I know nobody has I put in 2-a-days every single day. You know what I mean? I work out 15 hours a week.
Right.
I know nobody else is gonna be doing that in that match.
Mhm.
I promise you, I'm gonna be the biggest, toughest, strongest dude in the match. I
Sure.
can tell you right now.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
that's how you have to
I
approach
promise
it.
you.
Yeah.
That's how you have to approach it.
I'm not gonna say the most clever, cause the Mecca's kind of crafty.
He's correct.
I'm not gonna lie.
Well, you were MCW champion for 433 days,
but
so
but why? Because I can take notice to people that are like shady. You know what I
You
mean?
can read the room.
I
and
can read
Yeah.
the room and I know what's happening here. You
Right,
know, and I know
right.
this guy's has 10 plans. You know, plan A to plan Z, and none of them are gonna work. You know, but
Yeah.
but he has them. So
All right. I'm looking forward to that. July 24th. I
That's
think
right.
we all are.
Buy tickets now at mcwprowrestling.com. Yes.
Do
Go
it.
right there. Click the link. Buy the tickets. Come check us out. All right. So we've got a couple of fan questions. Number one, what is the best piece of advice that you have been given in wrestling?
damn.
I'm sorry.
been
I might
talking
have.
There
about-
might be a lot. We've covered
been
a
I
lot
mean,
of
we did
around.
talk
ground.
about advice, I know, but we didn't talk about what you talked about listening to advice, but and what to filter out. But what's the best little nugget that you've been given, kind of?
I want to say maybe like no half measures, right? Like you got to go all in and everything. Bruiser would say that either match wise, character wise, and your segment you got to go all in. Like nothing. And then if you're wrestling half-assed, you can get hurt. If you're doing the character half-assed, people can see through it. They can see daylight through it. So I would just say like man, it's hard because there's a lot of.
You said that's really, but that's
I
really good
know.
advice. I mean,
it's a lot.
if I had to clip it down to a soundbite, it would be like they won't tell me that a second time.
Yeah. Well, that
Yeah.
yeah, man. Because at the end of the day, you will fall, you
Yeah.
will fail, but you got to fall forward.
Yep.
Right. Like at the end of the day, that's what you got to do. So yeah, like learn from all the mistakes. If you're gonna get into wrestling, like show up in shape. Like at the end of the day, you're earning a jersey. You're trying to like fight for it. That's what it is. So be realistic.
Yeah, look at yourself in the mirror. Would I yet pay money to see myself? And even if you're a different body type, this is an athletic, physical game. This is not what you think it is, most people. So, yeah, be a professional athlete, basically.
Yeah.
Be a professional athlete.
Like back home, this is a real thing. This is the sports of the 1,000 emotions. That's the translation in Puerto Rico.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's a sport. It's in the same vein as we have baseball, basketball. It's just a sport of the 1,000 emotions.
So
You know
it's
what I mean?
respected then.
Yeah.
Like that's a viable
yeah.
career option. Like if you grow up as a little Puerto Rican kid, you tell your parents I want to be a wrestler here, and they're like, okay, good.
So, in the day, maybe not that much, but thanks to Bad Bunny wrestling at
Right.
WrestleMania,
It's up.
you know what I mean?
Stock is
Now
going
it's
up.
like, oh, you do a Bad Bunny there. I was like, yeah, I
Right.
guess,
Well, we were talking about this last week with Ryo about just representation, turning on the TV and seeing somebody that looks like you or sounds like you or dresses like you, is from the same town as you. Any little thing that you can connect with, whether it's cultural or racial or gender or just you play the same video game, anything.
When I was growing up, I like everybody falls off of wrestling. The guy who brought me back was Carlito.
Yeah.
Carlito debuting in WWE. I was like, Carlito, Carlos Colon's kid.
Yeah.
Like
Carly was up there.
and
yeah.
then I felt like, I felt like my grandma, like my great grandma in a way, because now I'm the guy that's like selling all of Carlito's stuff. How she was Carlos Colon back in the day. So it was like, I don't know, that again, representation. He was the one who brought me back.
Which
That's
I
a great
remember, if I
story.
remember correctly, you said that was also a dream match of yours, correct?
Yeah.
That was my
Yeah.
next question.
I remember. I remember
Actually,
the interview.
No.
John
The
doesn't
fan
know
who
that.
sent this in said dream opponent. So I'm
Dream
sorry. That
opponent.
could be.
That's one of
that-
them.
I remember
Okay.
the interview that we conducted with you for MCW Unveiled.
See,
So
I'm
it's fresh in my
I'm
mind.
not gonna lie, I'm a little bit disappointed that Danny isn't here because I was gonna politic that.
You're going to politic the
I was
Carlito
gonna,
match?
I was gonna politic that literally during this interview.
You can get it done still.
I can still do it. I know
you
I'm
get it
doing it
done.
now with the commentator.
Yeah. No, I'll drop
Yeah.
seats. We'll get it done. We'll
Oh,
get it done.
We'll nag a little bit.
Oh,
We'll
I
get
got
it done.
production. I got the commentator. I got
He's
the
looking pretty-
championship committee.
There it is.
There we
Right.
go.
I'll just type it up. I do the type. I'll just type it up. Put it on.
I
Oh,
got
you
some
didn't
questions.
know that was
I
on
got some
there?
questions about that championship committee. It's a little shady, if you ask me. Speaking of shady, is there anybody? I guess the other answer would be besides Carlito, but I guess whoever's drawing the most money.
Yeah, definitely.
Right?
Who's championing the promotion that I'm working for?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, valid.
So
All right.
Roosh.
right.
And then the third question I have is when we return, who are you looking to put in their place, have a feud with? Who are you looking to say, hey, Dante Caballero has not been sleeping these last 16 months?
So it's unfortunate because one of my favorite matches here was against Leo. In Fredericks. You know when it was exactly? No? Yes? No?
Exactly the exact date. I remember it was Autumn Armageddon.
Okay, that's good.
Good. That's
Okay,
good though. That's good.
I mean, if we're going for here, it was Seasons Beatings. 'Cause that was one of my favorite matches.
See,
so.
like this guy. So, Leo has been one of my favorite opponents, and he was my first big match
like a name value.
Definitely. Not only in name value, but like work wise.
Okay.
Because since I was here and right when I started, he was like transitioning and going to like different places. Yes, he was a name, but he was more like he's the top of the class.
You got to
in a
step up
way.
your game.
Yes, and I didn't know about it till like the graphic came out. You know, and it's one of those like the graphic comes out. I come to training the next time, and everybody's just looking at me like, what is he gonna sell? You know what I mean? Like, it's like, oh, did you see the match that you have this weekend? And it's like, yeah, man.
Yeah, I'm getting pumped.
Let's
I'm
see-
ready
let's
for
see-
that.
let's see what goes on, you know?
Yeah.
And what was funny is that when I had 1,000 ideas, and when I got there, I remember, I don't know if we can talk about finishes of matches and stuff, but hey,
Go
so I
ahead.
remember I had an idea and I was like, dude, like, I do the Rainmaker clothesline, you do the Spanish fly. I think you can turn that clothesline into a Spanish fly. He's like, dude, we don't have that much distance between us. It was like, it's a hip toss. I just have to take a hip toss.
Toss.
Yeah, and I'm bigger than you, so I'll take you over. Don't worry about it. And he was so hesitant, this and that. And I didn't know. Dean tells me later on, but apparently he did not think that was gonna go
Well, and
well.
all.
You know? But I was so insistent on it that he was like, "Well, the kid wants to do it, so we'll do it." You know what I mean? Like, but because I know this because Dean told me, but the match goes off, this and that gets a big crazy pop for the finish, 1, 2, 3, and after that I felt like Leo was like, man, this guy thing has some ideas that
Yeah,
are
you're
got
on- you're on
something.
the
I mean, like,
yeah.
so that was definitely, and of course he didn't have to listen to me and all that stuff. He listened to all my ideas, and that was the one that I wanted to like die on. You
Right.
know what I mean?
I'm not backing up off
Like
of this one.
everything
Yeah.
else, you can do whatever, but come on, man, this is gonna be amazing.
And it
Like,
was-
it's-
it was
and
big.
it was, and again, credit to him for being like an amazing athlete. You
Sure.
know what I mean? Like,
But it takes two, baby.
but yeah, like it was. So that was the one match that I wanted back, if anything, just because he had gone through his story. I had grown to my own, so I felt we could have had like a great either series of matches, a great match, a great feud.
You guys are eyeball to eyeball here.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So like that was one that I wanted, but if not, to be honest, like I had my eye on the Shamrock.
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie.
All right.
That's
Well,
the only thing that I haven't done. In
we
MCW.
will be putting the Shamrock back up. It will not be in July because we have Resurrection, but look for the Shamrock in
It's
upcoming
coming,
months.
baby.
Yeah.
So, and I want to ask you too about the match from February 2019.
Okay.
So that match was against Bruiser,
Mhm.
and I wasn't here. I was in Kenya actually, so I missed it. But that wound up being his last match ever.
Oh wow.
And we didn't know it. He was sick at the time. Really sick. We just didn't know it. He just thought that, you'd beat him up so much in the match that he was, experiencing a few more bumps and bruises, getting up there in age or whatever. And, and then it just didn't go away. But looking back on it, how does that sit in your mind? Like, that's the last match he ever had. And I'm sure he was proud that it was with you. But for you, how is it looking back on that one?
Man, I wish it wasn't. I wish it wasn't his last match. So yeah, that's. Man, but it's crazy. He and I like at the end when I was like when I was pretty much having that feud with him as champion, this and that, like I think the biggest blessing that I had was like us just sitting down and being like, oh, so what we're gonna do tonight. And what was crazy was like we would start talking and it was talking like, oh, maybe we can do this. What about this? Yeah, that would be cool. And then like having like maybe the other guys like slowly but surely also creep in. You know what I mean? And then like not that they were like also like giving ideas, but they just wanted to like
Hear what you guys were talking
yeah,
about.
Yeah,
and
sure.
You
then
guys
I
are the
noticed, like-
guys.
and I was like, oh man, like I felt like when I was hearing Joey and Bruiser
Yeah.
in a way, and I'm not gonna put myself in
No,
that
no,
place
no,
'cause
but
I'm not. But
But in a lot of ways, he was passing the torch to you.
You
We
know,
just
you
didn't
did learn
realize
from both of
how
them,
much.
so-
and
Yeah.
it's I don't know. I remember that specific thing happening in the New Year's show in Perry Hall.
Oh,
New
yeah.
Year's
the,
Mayhem?
New Year's Mayhem. I
mhm.
remember that
Decem-
because we were in the bleachers. I remember that was gonna be My mom was gonna be in town. She was gonna see that match.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not mistaken, it was maybe like the first match that she was gonna see me wrestle in too, for MCW.
Oh wow.
And that was when Bruiser was also coming back to like.
It was his first match
First
back.
match back.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just a lot of like stuff happening, as like 2 days after Christmas, this and that.
Mhm.
So, and we're just talking nonchalant about like, oh, that we're gonna do this and that. Like, oh yeah, like
Slowly, they start to.
yes, and then we're just in the middle, and we're just talking. We pretty much booked the whole show. You know what I mean? Like right then and
colleagues,
there.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Easy. And then of course like that Stairway to Hell match, like I knew it was gonna be gnarly.
Yeah.
Because with Bruiser, that's what it is. Like you got to bring
can't
it. Like it. Don't get me wrong.
do it
He's
any
gonna
other way.
protect you.
Yeah.
But he's not gonna like
He
take
will.
it easy on you.
Yeah, and he's not going to put out something that would make either of you look
No.
bad.
And there was moments like I remember moments in the match, right? Like for example, he was beating me up, right? He's beating me up. And at one point, we're finally like coming around after we went through the whole arena. And I remember I put him like I lay him down the steps, and and he had hit me easily like 15, 20 times. You know what I mean? Like I maybe had gotten him like twice. Let's be honest. So I just lay him down on the steps, and I just tell him stay, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna move," and I'm like, "The hell you are!" So I just like pushed him here and just gave him the biggest swig that I could. I was like, "I'm gonna get one in. I just need this one." Jesus.
You get one receipt. You're lucky, man.
Was that before or after he hit you with the 4 chairs stacked?
It could have been before. I think it was before.
It's probably before, so you had to get
It
your
was
one in.
before. Because I remember,
That's a great story.
I remember he body slammed me like around the arena. And then, like in
Did he do the shh thing? and
Yeah.
then-
Oh yeah, he
Okay.
definitely did.
I
The forearm
remember
to the
in
back.
match. I don't know if it was that one, but I remember there was like a Falls Count Anywhere match that we did once. And to be honest, I've never seen this before, and I've never seen it since. But he picked me up, he ran me into the wall, and he tried to pin me in the wall. Right?
Count,
Count anywhere.
That's great.
And my shoulders were pinned, so 1, 2, I kick out, but he drops me.
You know what? Before the credits happen, I'm gonna put this on
Yeah,
there.
that's
We're gonna have
fantastic.
this on there.
That's probably gonna
Oh,
get
wow.
stolen.
Yeah, right now, right?
Yeah.
Like, but I've never seen it, and I was like, oh man,
It's
that's really
genius.
If I remember, I think he actually yelled, "Count it! Count it!"
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
That's that kind of organic thing that just happens sometimes. You just feel it, you realize, and that's that presence of mind to just be aware of what's going on at all times, and that's called working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
All
all right, that's it. That's my
what we
questions.
got.
Yeah.
John, do you have anything in mind for the 24th or for the El Jefe?
Just give him a hell of a show.
Hell of a show, buddy. Do you
Oh,
got
yeah.
anything for the
Do as you
fans?
always do. Give him a hell of a show.
No, man, like I feel like I'm in a different place. Definitely, like I'm tired of wasting time in a way. I know now I'm closer to knowing who I am and what I can provide and what I can be. So I definitely think that this is gonna be maybe a second, a different chapter.
Step up.
Step up, definitely.
Mhm.
Excellent.
Because I feel more. I don't want to say angry, but
Focus driven.
I feel like I don't know. I feel like Michael Jordan in the Last Dance documentary.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I don't know. I want to just take over the world.
Yeah.
Well, you never know how long you have, so yeah, you have to
Tomorrow's
give
not
you have to give it your
guaranteed,
best.
right?
As you said, you're in the best shape of your life. You're gonna give them the best that you can.
Well, if I'm betting on anyone active right now, I mean, I put my money on you.
Thank you.
I put my
Yeah.
money on you for sure. Ladies and gentlemen,
Well, I forgot. I do have one more thing
You
to
got
say,
one more
Brent.
thing?
I'm sorry. I'm so
No, it's
sorry.
and but.
So one more thing. I know I said that we could buy tickets to July 24th at MCWProWrestling.com. We also have a local ticket outlet
Oh, we
as
do?
well. Yes, at Hideaway Collectibles in Dundalk. Grand opening was just last weekend. If you are looking for any kind of hard to find, unique collectibles, as far as wrestling goes, Funko Pops, you name it, Hideaway Collectibles has got what you're looking for. And not only that, they are a MCW ticket outlet. So you can go there. They have a website. They have a Facebook page. But, if you're into that kind of thing, because you know what? You might want to start stocking up on some of those recently released superstars and just kind of have them on hand because we like to bring people in. So I'm just throwing that out there. You might want to go check it out.
So you have them when you meet and greet. And
Yep,
come
you got to
to,
be
the
ready.
MCW
show, you
shows.
never know who's going to
Because
pop
as
up.
soon as somebody gets signed again, then their price, it gets jacked up again. So you might want to just think about that and pick up tickets to the next show.
MCW always does surprises.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
You never
Hideaway
know.
Collectibles in Dundalk for your MCW Pro
That's right, on
Wrestling
Halliburton,
tickets.
right up the street from Jimmy's Famous Seafood. So you can double whammy. Go pick up your collectibles, run down the street, and get a Bruiser burger, and say hi to John, and not that John Minidakis.
John Minidakis.
She's the best. She's the best. You see how she did that?
Yeah.
1-2 punch.
I'm always
That damn
thinking.
good, man. So we got El Jefe. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah,
It's been a
thanks for
real
being
pleasure.
here.
You're a gentleman and a scholar, and one hell of a wrestler, man.
Thank you.
For Tara Meyer, John Rollins, my name's Brent Taring. This has been the MCW Cast. We will see you and be right back here next week.
You make me